Are you there, brother?
Yes, I'm here.
How you doing? How you doing today? I have the brother Ishmael Muhammad, the National Assistant Minister of the National of Islam, Nation of Islam. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, my brother. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Give the people a little bit of information about yourself before I get deep into this exclusive interview, my brother.
Thank you for the honor and privilege of coming on the show and introducing myself to your radio audience. I am student minister Ishmael Muhammad. I am deeply honored and humbled to serve as the National Assistant Minister to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I'm also one of the sons of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Okay, brother. First off, tell me, how was it growing up being within your son of the great, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Growing up, how was it growing up during that time when your father was in a pivotal part of his career or within the nation? How was that growing up?
Well, I would tell you I didn't grow up like normal children, or I should say, as many children expect, in the sense that every child wants to grow up with both of their parents. And of course, many of us in the black community, we have had to grow up with single parents. And in fact, nearly 80% of most of our homes in the black community, we have children that are being reared by a single parent. And though I had my father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was a man completely devoted, committed, and dedicated to his mission, which is the uplift of our people. So I didn't have a lot of interaction with him as a young boy, and of course, he departed in 1975, and I was just 10 years of age at the time. So I missed, growing up with a father. I missed going to Dad and asking him questions, especially when I became a teenager, and all of us know how challenging those years are for us. But I was blessed to find someone that I knew as a little boy who helped me to grow up as a young man, and that's Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I grew up with a lot of expectations, brother. Naturally, those that are born from great leaders in our community, the children grow up with great expectations, which are natural, that we expect that the children born from great men and women would do something great in the way of their father's work. So I had that pressure as well growing up. But with all of those challenges, I'm very, very honored. I'm very humbled to have been born from such great loins, and I'm happy to be in the work of my father, and that gives me great joy just to be serving our people, serving our community, and making a contribution for a better future.
Okay, and being in the nation, I know that they tell you a lot of stories about your father. What's one story that you received, through your period of time that stuck with you the most to help you continue through your father's path and also just walk down the path that your father paved for you?
Well, the thing that moved me the most and continues to drive me is his relentlessness, his perseverance, his absolute commitment and dedication to see his people free. And that is everything that those that have shared with me, that worked with my father, as officials of his, as laborers of his in the work. It was his commitment, his perseverance, his dedication, all, of course, because of his tremendous love for his own people. And that's the force and energy that drives me today. And I hope that I can, before my time comes, that I will at least have done in some part what he did, which of course I will never be able to equal what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did, but I have a great example in Minister Farrakhan. And so there's so many stories, dear brother, but the one that sticks with me the most is his dedication, and of course what I saw as a young boy. Every time that I saw my father, he was constantly, his mind was always on how could he improve the condition of our people.
Okay, and you being I wouldn't say adversary, but I would say a student of Minister Farrakhan, he teaches about self-love, knowledge, and self-sufficiency. So how important is that within our community?
It's everything, dear brother. One of the things, dear brothers, that we must never forget is what was done to us as a people. And if you and I today, particularly our young people, we are in a situation, we're living under adverse circumstances, and many of us don't know why we're living this way and why it has been so difficult for black people, and why we can't seem to get out of the condition that we find ourselves in. And all of it is due to slavery and the destruction of the enemy of us. And what we have to realize, dear brother, is that when the Europeans came over to take our forefathers into slavery, they did what was never done in the history of the world, and that is that they not only brought us into servitude slavery, but they took from us the knowledge of self, the knowledge of God. They took from us our names, our culture, our religion, and then they imposed on us their concept of God. They imposed on us their religion, their culture. They put on us their names. And so without a knowledge of self, you and I cannot be introduced to our value. And that's why black lives have to matter, not to those that we help to make great, but they gotta matter to us. And the only way black lives matter is when we're introduced to a knowledge of self. And in the knowledge of self, we're introduced to our value. And in that value, we find why we should love self and love my brother and my sister as I love myself. So that's the key, dear brother, to us making a better future for us. We have to first come into the knowledge of self and into the knowledge of God.
And what must we do for the betterment of ourselves? Seeing as though that, that Dr. Kadrupa, seeing as though you just expressed the importance of self-love, self-knowledge, and self-sufficiency, what must we do for the betterment of ourselves to help enhance and emasculate ourselves to be and to have those key things sufficient within our morals?
We have to access that knowledge that is available to us. We have to make ourselves available to that self-knowledge and that self-love and the program that God has given to us that would allow us to be self-sufficient. So self-sufficiency, self-knowledge, and self-love is among us. And that's what makes me to feel and to know that we have a bright future, is because of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I would encourage all of us to access that knowledge that the Nation of Islam has among us. and it will make all the difference in the world.
Okay, and for those who just now tuning in, you're now tuned into the plug. I have Mr. Ishmael, Brother Ishmael Muhammad. Brother, what makes the minister's perspective on life highly respected?
Because he was taught by a very wise man in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And again, because of that self-knowledge. See, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he not only gave us the knowledge of self, but he gave us, dear brother, the knowledge of God. And he gave us the origin and the history of the world that we're living in and that has mistreated us. Elijah Muhammad taught us the history of the white man. Elijah Muhammad taught us everything that is in front of us. So Minister Farrakhan's value is that he gives us an insightful perspective on current issues, because he doesn't have a what we would call a branch of knowledge. He has root knowledge. And because he has that root knowledge, he can give to us a perspective on things from hindsight, and from the hindsight, he gives us foresight. And that is what makes the minister absolutely an invaluable teacher among black people in America.
Okay, and such great leaders such as Minister Farrakhan, W.E.B. Du Bois, Malcolm X, and Dr. King, what would be the reason, in your perspective, as though that the teaching, the minister's teachings, doesn't reach our community as strong as other messages or other teachings?
It is because those leaders were outspoken, dear brother, of their criticism of the white man and the white man's institutions that were never designed for you and me to get that self-knowledge. So anyone that comes to give us that kind of knowledge that would raise our level of consciousness and make us the equal of those that are in power is seen as a threat of the status quo and a threat to those who want to keep things as they are, and what they want is to continue a system of white supremacy. So these great men are viewed as a threat to white people, and those of us who seek nearness with white people, who want to be favored by white people, will also work to keep those leaders and their ideas and their vision away from the masses of our people to keep the status quo. So there's fear among us. Remember, again, it's still slavery, but on another level. So whenever the slave spoke out, whenever the slave would speak a strong language that could upset the master, then the rest of the slaves would be afraid of the consequences of what that strong, outspoken slave was saying and the consequences that it would bring. So that's what we have in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan today, Dr. King yesterday, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey. These were men that were unafraid to speak truth to power. But it's the only means by which a people can free themselves. And there's too much fear in us of those like Minister Farrakhan who speak truth, and truth that exposes the hypocrisy and deceit of those that are in power that have no intention on improving our condition, but only want to maintain the status quo. So Louis Farrakhan is most people know Brother Farrakhan from the media. So we don't control those mediums. So most people get introduced to Minister Farrakhan through the negative misrepresentation of the media of him so that you could be frightened of a man that actually offers us the salvation that we're looking for.
Okay, and recently you stated in a recent interview with the Breakfast Club that, and I quote, fast approaching, war, 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 which could be end quote, which I think you paraphrased from the minister. What is the war as such you recently were speaking about? Or what is the war that is quickly approaching?
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a warner to America and to us, but more so to America and the world, that if they continue down the path that they are on, that it would lead to what the prophets spoke of, dear brother, in the Bible, of a war that would end all wars. It's called the War of Armageddon. The War of Armageddon brings every nation to the battlefield. And right now, all over the world, whether we in the black community are aware of it or not, Russia is poised for war. China is poised for war. Everyone is arming themselves to the teeth, including America, which of course America rules the world. But you have all of these nations that are arming themselves and preparing themselves for battle. Then you look at the way these other nations are talking. And America is not liked by China. America is not liked by Russia. America is not liked even by some of her own European brothers. So there is a war on the horizon that I was warning us of from Minister Farrakhan that is fast approaching, and this war is the most feared war that the nations have pardon me, to keep themselves from. But it's called the War of Armageddon. Armies gathered together for the doom. That's the war that's on the horizon that is fast approaching.
And so last Sunday, October the 30th, the minister gave a speech, and I quote, the title of it was, "If Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How then will his kingdom stand?" And that's from Matthew 12:26. So with that title that represents this current election, how was Minister Farrakhan's message relayed, in what perspective, to the title of his speech that makes a great impact on this current election that will be taking place in the next couple of weeks, or the election will start next week?
Yes. Well, he came up with this subject after looking at how the candidates in Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton have characterized each other. This is the first time, brother, in the history of America that we have to make a choice between the lesser of two evils. And you know the rhetoric and the mudslinging that has taken place between these two candidates. Donald Trump calls Hillary Clinton Crooked Hillary, and Hillary Clinton calls Donald Trump Lying Trump. So the minister said the way that these two candidates are characterizing each other is an example of Satan casting out Satan. The house is divided. America is divided. Donald Trump has tapped into the vein of the common white man, and there is a sentiment among white people that they have to take back their country. Take it back from who is the question, but the fact of the matter is there is a sentiment among white people that they need to take control. So Donald Trump is saying, let's make America great again. Well, to make America great again means let's make America white again. We're losing the country. And they, of course, were upset when America elected for the first time in its history a black president. Then they see the great dissatisfaction and anger coming out from black people who have been denied justice and have lost loved ones to rogue police. And they see young black men standing up to white police officers. And all of this is being aired and broadcast on television. So white people are saying, man, look at these. And I can't say it on your radio show.
We got to understand.
They're standing up to us. We got to put them down. We got to put them in their place. So you have all of these sentiments and emotions running high. And now we are being asked to make a choice between the lesser of two evils. Evil is evil all the same. And that's why the minister said, no one should tell us that we have to vote just to vote. And if you're asking me to choose the lesser of two evils, how in good consciousness, dear brother, can I vote for evil to rule over me? That's like asking me to make a choice between Satan and Lucifer. It's still the devil, and I'm still not going to get what I need for me and my people. Neither candidate is speaking to our interests, to our needs. None of them are putting forth a vision of progress for America or for black people. So they represent illusions of progress. And what we got to understand as a people is that we've gone down this road over and over again. And there's a saying, if you do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, that is what? Insanity. So neither the Republican Party or the Democratic Party have ever fulfilled promises to the black community, and the Republican Party has historically has ignored us and oftentimes scapegoats the black community, and the Democratic Party has done very little to nothing in addressing the needs of our people. So we are in a very serious time, and come November 8th, we have to make a vote that is in our best interest. And, you know, I closed it by saying what the minister said, brother. You know, in Congress, there are three kinds of votes. There's a yay, there's a nay, and then there is an abstention. The yay vote wins on an issue. The nays usually express an opposing position or vision. But the minister said something interesting that we should consider. Those who abstain have a reason for taking neither position, and an abstention can be an important signal to the ruling politicians that something is wrong and needs to be fixed. To simply vote for the lesser of two evils, election after election, all this time, doesn't reform the system. It doesn't make the system responsive. We have the right to cast our vote, but it has to be based on spiritual, moral, and political positions that are important to us. And that's the only way that we should cast our vote intelligently on November 8th. What are the candidates saying about justice for the black man? What are the candidates saying that make me to know that that candidate is going to do what is best for the America and what is best for my people and my community?
All right, thank you, brother Ishmael Muhammad. For those who just not tuning in, I'm on the phone with none other than the brother. I would say he's legendary because of his time and what his influence is. Has his influence. I'm sorry, brother. I'm tongue tied. His influence.
It's all right.
His influence within the Nation of Islam, as well as those who are in tune with the light. We'll be right back after this, brother. Do not hang up. I want to talk to you for another second. But right now, people, we are going on to a couple of more records, and we'll be right back after this. All right? It's your boy Cool Kid. Holla at me. Brother.
Yes, sir.
I thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, dear brother. It's a great honor anytime, brother. And, you know, if we can talk more, you know, just to keep spitting truth out to the minds of particularly your generation, because it's your generation that really, really holds the future. And the enemy knows that, you see. And the enemy wants to do everything in his power to keep you and your generation from making the right decisions that would absolutely bring in a new reality for your people.
Is the minister, is there plans in the near future for the minister to come to North Carolina?
He's going to be in South Carolina.
Okay.
This weekend he's gonna be in Charleston.
Oh man, I got family down there. I'm actually in North Carolina. I'm in Durham, North Carolina.
Oh, the great Durham. Yes, sir.
The legendary, the Black Wall Street Durham. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I would love to come and visit Durham. I've never been to Durham. I've been all over. I passed you by, but I have not made a stop in Durham, and I would love to come, man. I would love to come to the campus there, you know, one day.
Yeah. What's a good contact phone number that I can reach you to see whenever you're around the area?
I'm gonna give you my personal cell phone, okay, for you.
Okay, brother.
It's 773.
Okay.
447.
Okay.
2707.
So 773-447-2707?
That's it.
All right, brother.
And I want to give you, real quick, I'm pulling it up. He's going to be in Charleston at the Royal Life Center.
Okay.
In North Charleston. It's right next to the Royal Baptist Church there.
Okay. Okay. All right.
God bless you.
God bless you, too. I have your number, so we'll stay in contact.
Please.
And I definitely want to see if sometime within the next 6 months, if the minister has time, I can always schedule something on campus to see if he can come and talk and speak. If he has time, that's basically. If not him, if you're able to come as well, perfect. You know, perfect. And so I definitely, you've never been to Durham, you've heard about it. I definitely want to take you around town and let you see what Durham has to offer.
Oh, brother, I would love it. As soon as you can make the arrangements, I'm there.
All right, brother. All right. Well, I have your number. We'll stay in contact, and I'll give you a call sometime next week to check up in on you.
All right. I love it. I'm looking forward to hearing from you, okay?
Yes.
Let's stay in touch.
Yes, brother. You have a nice day.
Stay strong. Peace.
Indeed.